All right, now that we've shown you how to prep a fender flare, go ahead and do the rest of them. We've got a kit already done that we're gonna throw onto my truck, so let's get it going. And then they're gonna send us the best person for the job. What, him?
There was no one else.
All right, let's get to work. Come on. Okay, so the first step is to remove the flare, and so we're going to start at the left front and remove the left front stock fender flare. How do you do that, Caleb?
We've got these 5 90-degree turn clips. We need to turn them all to the right. There's one on the very front. Further back a second, third, fourth, and fifth. At which point we can get up, grab the fender, and pull very firmly, harder than you want to.
And then it pulls it off.
Yep.
And then you have the fender flare off. Okay. Caleb, what things do you have to save off of this fender flare for the new fender flare?
We will need to save 2 of these push pin clips. And then we'll also need to take out these 90-degree turns. They're kind of tricky to turn out. We need to take all 5 of those out of the fender flare.
So now, Caleb, since you have the fender flare off and you're getting ready to put the new fender flare on, what do you have to do to this flare to prep it to be able to put it on?
Well, Chris, all 5 of these 90-degree turn clips we need to put back in their place. There's those rectangle inserts.
They just pop right in, huh?
Yep.
Baller.
Be sure to hear that clicking noise.
If it clicks, it means it ships.
We've also got these 2 push pins. They need to be in the 2 rearmost inserts. They'll slide right in from under and then push them forward. Alright, now it's ready to go on the vehicle.
So then you're just going to put the flare on after that, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
I'll be sure to line up the 90-degree turns into those rectangle holes. Turn them to the left, all 5 of them. And now that flare's on.
Now that you got the fender flare on, you're not done, are you?
No,
There's
sir.
still more to do.
Of
Okay,
course.
so what do we got to do next then?
Well, I need to open up this inner fender well. Or take an 8mm socket. There's a couple screws I'll just need to take out. I like to take off the ratchet at this point and then just do it by finger. Alright, all those screws are now out. I'm going to take out this front one just because it'll make it simpler later on. That'll just need a Phillips head and a plastic pry tool. Start unscrewing it. I like to put the pry tool right behind it to apply some pressure.
So getting these things out is very tricky. They're very time consuming at times, but if you work them well enough, they'll come out. All right, so now that you got the 4 8mm screws out of the front and you got this booger out, what's the next step, Caleb?
I'll remove this inner fender well so I can make room to put in my nutserts.
Right on.
These are kind of a pain in the butt to get out of. You need to push forward towards the center of the vehicle. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4.
All right, so now since you got the inner fender well out or popped out enough, what's the next step? I see you have, what do you have in your hand?
I've got a rag and Ditso. This is basically acetone. Rubbing alcohol also works, and your box will come with a little bit of that.
And you're doing that because you're gonna clean up a surface for?
These are my nutserts, which hold on to the screws that hold our brackets that keep these fender flares secure.
And they're stuck on with adhesive tape,
Yeah,
right?
just 3M double-sided sticky tape.
So you're trying to clean it up just so it has a good binding surface,
Of
right?
course, we don't want that falling right out.
Right on.
So I'll dampen my rag with Ditso, hold on this inner fender well, and just rub it down, clean it up a little bit. I'll do that to all 3 of them. All right, and once those are all clean, I'll take my nutserts, remove that red backing, just comes right off, and stick it behind that hole. Be sure to center it. All right.
Behind which hole? Can you point to the hole you need to be
Yeah,
behind?
right there.
That hole right there.
Yep, there's one there.
That's where nutsert needs to be.
Right there, and right there.
Okay.
Yep.
So basically, that adhesive is just holding that nutsert plate there until you get the bolt in.
Yes, sir.
So you want good adhesion so it can stick there, but ultimately the bolt's what's going to hold it in there after the brackets get put on.
Of course. There are 3 nutserts per fender flare, both rear and front.
So the bolts that you took out have nothing to do with those nutsert pieces. They're just taking those out so you can get behind there to access the holes to put those in, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right on.
Yep.
Okay. So now you got all the nutserts in. What's the next step?
Well, I'll take my vice grips. I like to use needle nose just because they take up less room. Hold those still because there will be twisting involved and I don't want those coming off. So I'll put on that vice grip. Take these brackets labeled F for front. Slide in these bolts that come with your kit.
That bolt comes with the kit?
Yep, so does this Loctite.
Okay.
Apply a little bit of Loctite to there. And you'll need a 10mm socket. Get it started while holding those vice grips. And then just tighten it up.
So the vice grips are holding the nutsert, right?
Yeah, otherwise the nutsert would start rotating and we don't want that.
Okay. And then how tight you tightening that?
Not super tight, they just need to be
somewhat
tight
snug?
enough where these don't start moving around, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so there's one.
All right, yeah. So you got the 3 brackets on that you wanted on. Now you're gonna put the inner fender well back in. So that means you're gonna put the 4 8mm screws, and then that thing that we all hate, I think they're called a scrivet. I think is what those things are called. Screw rivet. Scrivet.
We can call it that if
thing?
you want, sure. So we'll put in.
They're great for when people assemble vehicles because they can go together pretty quick. But us people who have to take it apart, they're always a thorn in our paw. And I think I've said that probably 4 times now with this front fender flare.
All right, so we'll push these back into their place. I've got clips behind here they need to go on. These don't need to be super tight because they're already going into a bracket inside.
Are those 8mm?
Mm-hmm. The screws. All right, we've got all 4 of those on. This just pushes right in.
Pushes in there, center. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So
Now it's on.
now you got the fender well back in. What's the last? I'm assuming we're on the last step of the front, right?
Well, this front's now done.
It is done.
Yes, sir.
Hang on. That's it.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, that was easy.
Yeah. Let's do it 3 more times.
All right. So before we start the rear, there's one more thing we need to mention about the front because we're only going to do a video on one side of the truck. Caleb, you got the left front done. To do the right front, is there anything different?
The only difference is that those 2 push pin clips that we kept from taking off the old fender flare, those need to be in the rearmost holes. That's
Rearmost holes on both the left and right, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be on the right for the left side, and for the right side of the truck, there'll be the 2 on the left.
The 2 on the left. Yeah, if you're looking at the truck this way.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. All right, so we got the front done. Same between left and right. Caleb, we're going to do the rear. What is the first thing you do with the rear?
Well, we've got these twisty clips we need to take off.
How many of them are there?
There's 5 on the rears. Just
5
like
on the
there were
rears too, huh?
front.
Okay, all right, we'll get to getting.
So we'll turn them all to the right, about 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull firmly.
I feel like you need to like spike it and like
It
you got
does
a
help if
touchdown.
you yell.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, sweet. Take your anger out on my truck.
Yep. Like I said, we'll need to take 2 of these push pin clips.
2 push pins on the rear. You're taking 2 off.
This one's damaged, so try not to reuse that one.
What does a damaged one look like, Micah? You want to get close up on that so
Yeah.
people know what a damaged
That
one looks
one's
like?
damaged. You can see it's missing that side.
Yep. Okay. Is it because you pulled it off with Hercules
There's
strength?
what a good one looks like. I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Did Hulk smash?
We'll take out all 5.
Yep. So you're going to reuse the quarter turns, right?
Yep, reuse all 5 quarter turns. Keep only 2 of these push pins. All right. Take out these quarter turns. All right. We don't need this fender flare anymore.
All right, well, let me go throw it away for you. Take that. You see what I did right now?
Like that, baby.
All right, so you got the fender flare off. The next step is?
Get the new fender flare. The one for the left side of the truck will be missing the leftmost part of it. That's because it'll go near the rear door.
Needs to clear the door.
Yep. The second part.
Gotcha.
Pop all these twisty things in. Be sure to hear the click.
Click.
Now, unlike the front, these don't go together. These push pin clips go in the frontmost hole and the rearmost hole. They are sometimes very tricky to get in. If you run into one of these tricky clips, I'll take a tiny flat head and just pry it in there. There it is. Now this is ready to go on the vehicle. Be sure to line up all those clips. And start rotating those 90-degree turns. All right, that's in.
Okay, so now you have the flare back in. You got all the quarter turns fastened.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Now we'll need to take out the inner fender well.
Inner fender well.
With the front, these got those scrivets.
Scrivets. Remember, you learned a word today, Caleb. the word you learned was scrivet.
It's just like Sesame Street.
Yeah, just like it.
Scrivet. So what it is that holds it in is when this screw is fully in, it expands that, making it impossible to remove. One here that's kind of hard to see.
How many of those you got to take out?
1, 2, 3. Usually 3. It could be 5 depending on how easily this rearmost one wants to go in.
So again, all you're trying to do is gain access to be able to put the nut rivets, fasten the nut rivets behind it.
All right, we've got all those in, so we can move back the inner fender well. Be sure to have your ditso on hand.
All right, so I noticed the front side, when you did them, all of them look like this, right? Now I just noticed that you grabbed a handful of a couple other ones. What do they look like?
I grabbed these wider ones. Those will go in the rear, the 2 rearmost areas. There's one that goes behind here, and then one that goes right in there.
In there.
Yep.
And so what you're doing, the reason why you put the flare on first before you go ahead and put those on, is you're trying to line this riv nut with that hole. And so you're pulling this down, right?
Yep.
And
pull
then,
that down.
And then monitoring where that's going in, sliding it in. Now, is that going between something?
It is. This one has little metal, I guess, inserts on just the center on the rears. None of the others have those.
Where's that? Where's that at? Is that up here?
Yep. There's one right here and one back there.
Okay, so when you do yours, you'll feel it. You can feel up here in the center, and you can feel the metal thing that this is going to slide in between the quarter panel and the tabs in the back. It slides in between there. Yep. Is that going to be hard with the tape exposed?
Well, I've got to wipe it down with Ditso first, Chris.
So Ditso first.
Ditso, use a clean rag.
Yeah, it's the boss's truck. Remember that.
What I'm doing here is behind this frontmost area, there's this just rubber stuff that gets in the way of these nut certs. So I like to peel that off.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it'll feel kind of like a weld, but it's definitely rubber.
It's seam sealer.
Yeah, it's not integral at all. You can just take it right off. I'll take this thin nut cert. That one goes in the front.
You're going to line it up with the hole.
Of course. All right, apply pressure.
Apply pressure, then she sticks.
Yep. The second one.
This is the one that's going to go up between the 2 pieces, right?
Yep. Here. Thank you, Chris.
I'll earn my pay.
What are we paying you? $7 an hour now?
Yeah. And so this is the one that went in between those 2 tabs, and you just kind of got to muscle and wiggle it through there to make sure you don't have a sticky spurt.
Of course.
Stick to it.
This third one, I don't really need to remove the fender well because it moves inward anyway.
Okay.
What I will do is, with the tape on, make sure that hole can align.
He's a smart one, isn't he?
which it can.
Look at you go.
If that doesn't align, you will need to remove some of this just with a grinder.
Does that one align?
Yeah, it does.
How often do you run into them that they don't?
It's very rare that you have to do that.
Okay.
You just use a hard sander. Slide it up there. That's it.
Got her.
Yep. Apply pressure.
Okay, so now you got all those in there with the rivets.
Yep.
And so now you're going to use your handy dandy needle nose vice grips.
Yep.
And you're going to attach the brackets, right?
All right, 10 millimeter socket. Throw it up on the tire. And get out these brackets.
Okay, so there's, as far as the rear goes, they're labeled R, right?
These are labeled R for rear. You'll need 2 of these.
2 that say R.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the difference between this is the difference between the left and the right rear fender
rear.
flares. Is this both on 4-door and 2-door?
This is for both 4 and 2-door.
Okay.
Yep.
And Caleb's going to show you the difference between doing the 2.
The left side of the truck gets this bracket. You can see there's a picture of a truck viewed from the
That'd
left
be the
side.
profile of the left side of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would go on the left.
The right side will get this one. These funky shaped brackets go in the forwardmost hole on both sides. So it'll be there, and for the other side, it'll be right there too. Yep.
And so left silhouette goes left, right silhouette goes right.
Yep.
Now, how do you know which side's the left and the right on the truck? How do you know which side's left side and right side?
Oh, I just put up my hand.
That's an interesting way.
All right. You may have noticed that these funky shaped brackets have 2 holes. That's because one hole is used for 4-door and one is used for 2-door. The uppermost is used for 4-door. For a 2-door, you need to use the bottom hole. So I'll put it in the upper since this is a 4-door vehicle. Apply some Loctite. Get it started. Put on those vice grips, make sure it holds tight. And fasten. There's one. Now all 3 of these brackets are in the fender flare. I'll take these scrivets. Back in. Make sure to keep the base end fully and then push on the screw. Got all 3 of those brackets tightened. Now the rear fender flare is complete.
All right, now that you got it on, there's one last step to do, and that is put the
This is the door flare. Just
door piece of the flare.
Yep.
Yep. And so what are you going to do?
Well, I'll open the rear door. Get my Ditso along with the blue shop towel. Dampen it.
And this is going to clean it up to prep it.
Carefully wipe it down.
Whatever waxes or oils are off. So you have a clean surface because that's going to be sticky taped onto it.
Yeah, it's just using 3M automotive tape. Next wipes down.
Have you ever seen, after you put one on, have you ever seen one fall off?
Once because it was applied incorrectly.
Meaning it wasn't cleaned correctly?
It wasn't fully cleaned beforehand. So I'll take off this red backing. 1, 2. Alright.
There's 2. Alright, so what do you do before you prep that or put it on there? How do you line it up so you know you get a good
I like to line up the top end first and then check the rear. Once I'm happy with both ends, then I'll apply pressure.
Okay.
I'll check the rear. Just make sure it's flush with this.
Yep.
There.
But you don't want the 2 of them touching.
Oh, no. And you also don't want it too far backward where some of the sticky tape is off the door. And the rear is good. I'll check the bottom. Line it up. And apply pressure. I'm happy with that, so I'll open up the door. You can get the most pressure by just doing this. Now left side flares are complete.
Ta-da!